Hello, everyone. Welcome to True, the Arsenal True Galaxy podcast. I am your host, Alonzo Spencer, and with me is Russ Morgan. Hello, Russ. How's it going today?
I'm very good, Alonso. Sorry to hear you are not 100% and under the weather.
Right. So, Russ. As we all know, Arsenal. We're both Arsenal fans. So I'm sure I don't know if you watched the game or not on Sunday. Um, It was very, very frustrating match to watch. Of course, with Eze not being there, not Udegaard not being around to watch to play the big game. Um, what were your thoughts on the lineup? What were your thoughts on the weekends or the game? What could they have done better? Do you think that I guess it's an opportunity lost with the way that we're gonna play them in a month or so from now. So, what were your thoughts? What were your expectations um, with everything that's going on with the injuries now? Um, are you confident? Are you nervous? Are you, oh no, not again? Um, what are your feelings about the whole thing with happened on Sunday?
Wasn't well. If we're going to lose one final this year, I'd rather it be the Carabao Cup final. It's the one we've got the least amount of interest. Well, the least one we're invested in, I guess. Um, Problem was, first 20 minutes we looked quite good. Havertz had a really good chance to score. And then after the 20-minute mark, we seemed to just be on the back foot for the rest of the match. The second half, I don't know what Arteta said at halftime, but it didn't seem to galvanise the team when we just didn't turn up at the end of the day. It was just the game passed us by a little bit. It was quite the starting lineup. I think it was the best that he could do with the people that he had. Obviously, people will moan about not having David Raya starting goal. But from my point of view, I think it would have been a bit, um, what's the word? Well, Kepa's played pretty much every minute of the cup. I would assume that prior to the season starting, when he was signed, it was said that he would play all the Carabao Cup games. So I think it would have been a bit unfair for them to rock up in the final against Man City and say, sorry, Kepa, you're not playing this game. So I think from that point of view, I think Arteta did the right thing in playing him, but obviously he was the cause of the first goal and he didn't really cover himself in glory. So from that point of view, yes, it's disappointing. But as I said, if we lose this one but win one of the other bigger cups, then no one will remember this.
So, in your mind, right? We got a huge gap on City, right? Do you think that Arsenal have been known to be a club, a football club, where they don't look at the positives, they look at the negatives, and realize that we lost to basically our title contending rival in City. Do you think that you're afraid and nervous that they'll do the same output April 19th, or do you think that they'll, like Rice has said it, that they'll use it as a positive and just um, this is not over yet. The season's far from over. We're still top of the league. We're still in two other competitions. Or do you think that just use that game against City as well? We get one step away, and then they'll never come back from that. Because we've seen this far too often where Arsenal on on total league for a long period of time and they let it slip away. What are your thoughts on that?
Don't know. We can only do what we can do. We could win our next two games. City could lose one, and then, from my point of view, we've won the league. So, I, obviously, Man City will be happy that they've won the cup, even though, as I said, they've won it like 5 out of the last 7 years. So, they the thing is with Man City, you got to look at it like this: they have won everything on offer in the past 5 years or so. They've won literally everything. They've got a team full of winners. They've got players that know how to win things. We do not have that. We don't have players that have won big trophies. And I think that's the one thing. It's coming down to the end of the season now. And I think the pressure might be getting to them. As I said, the Carabao Cup, I wasn't too bothered about it. I
Mm,
was I was more disappointed with the performance. I wasn't before the match. I was like, okay, if we lose, we lose. It doesn't really matter. But the performance, the way we played, wasn't great. And I think that we had no Eze, and Eze is going to be he could be out for like the next 4 weeks or so, something like that potentially. We had no Odegaard, and we literally Guterres was just up there by himself. Not he just didn't get the ball. I think he looked the best out of all the forwards, which is not saying very much really.
mm,
Saka's done nothing for months. Trossard, I don't think Trossard should be starting games. I think he should just be coming on as an impact sub. He shouldn't be
mm,
starting games. Martinelli should be starting every game now to the end of the season. But creative, we just didn't have it. We didn't create anything. We lack creativity, and I seriously hope that that's addressed in the summer. I don't know whether we if I have a, I have a feeling that Erdegaard will be sold.
mm.
He will go, and maybe as they will become the first choice in that role, or we go out and buy someone else. I don't know. Obviously, we need depth in that position, but Havertz cannot play in that role, and it showed. All right, it's Man City. It's the second best team in the league at this point in time. He was really ineffective, and I don't know. I just think the pressure might be getting to us a little bit. But as I said before, we Man City may lose their next game. We may lose our next game. We can only do what we can do. We can't really worry about what they're doing.
Russ, so you mentioned the number 10 position and how Odegaard and Eze are both not fit right now. We talked about it. I talked about this on other podcasts. Um,
Which other podcast? You're not allowed another podcast.
Arsenal fan circle.
Nah.
How our Arsenal fan circle? How it would have been a mistake if we let Ethan and Newari leave, and sure enough, it bit Arsenal in the behind because he's off at Marseille.
Mm,
Um, do you think that right next year when he comes back on loan from Marseille, do you think he'll be mature enough to take that position, or do you think he still needs some grooming, and get loaned out again, or even possibly sold? Do you think that's his job now? Seeing how, like you said, Udegaard might be sold, Eze could be our number 10 next year. In hindsight, do you see Newari staying at Arsenal, or do you see him leaving elsewhere?
I mean, you'd like him to stay because obviously he's come through the youth academy. But obviously, if there's a well, it's like Emil Smith Rowe. If there's a buyer, then you have to sell.
Mhm,
But obviously, you've got Max Dowman as well. And obviously, I know Max Dowman's a young lad. He's a kid. I I wasn't surprised that he didn't come on against Man City, even though we were dying for something different. Because I think you do have to be careful when he's 16 years old. He's still at school. He's still doing his exams. So Ethan Wanyeri, I mean, if he comes back and Arteta sees him as a first team player, then fine. If Arteta doesn't see him as a first team player, loans him out or sells him, there's nothing I can do about that.
But I thought you're the owner.
I'm not the
Right.
owner. I wish I was.
So, right. So, do you think that Arteta in these important games doesn't go for it enough, or what do you think he's telling the current squad when he starts out there with the starting 11? What makes you think, as a fan, on why he doesn't have his team go for it enough, or what's holding them back from getting, albeit a smaller trophy, but it is a trophy in this instance. And we see it all throughout the year that Arteta doesn't really go for it in the big games. For example, Liverpool, in some cases, a City, or maybe a Chelsea, or even Manchester United. Russ, what do you think that he doesn't really tell the team to go for it instead of playing it back defensively so much in these important games? Or even in Champions League games against PSG last year, where granted they had some goals that were saved, hit the crossbar. Um, is he afraid to make that mistake by going too forward?
I don't know. I think it's just a case that he might just tell them not to lose, but then he doesn't tell them to try and win the game. Well, you're playing, as I say, you're playing Man City. I mean, you could play them 10 times and you might only win five or six. They're that close to us. It's very, very fine margins. And obviously, with Man City, there is a bit of a mental thing. I think we haven't beaten them enough to say that we're getting one over on them. But in a cup final, I just, you could play that however many times, and you could win 50 one of them, and you can lose 49 of them. It's one of those. It's a toss of a coin. But yeah, what was worrying for me was just the fact that we just stopped playing after 20 minutes. I know after they scored the first goal, I knew it was pretty much over. I thought we're not scoring a goal because we haven't created anything in the last 60 minutes. What makes you think we're going to create anything in the next 30? I really, I am concerned, but I've been concerned for a long time, and the fact that we just don't create enough.
Mm,
Saka's not pulling his weight. Trossard, Martinelli are not pulling their weight. Gyökeres, you could say what you like about him, but he's there to score goals. If he's not getting the ball, how can he score goals?
exactly.
Havertz has been out for the best part of a year, and against Man City, he looked like a player who hasn't played very much in the past year. He was a non-entity. So this summer coming up, they really need to figure out. All right, we were meant to add the last pieces last summer. If we win the league, fine, but we can't just stop and say, "Oh, we've won it now." Oh, we can have a smaller transfer window. We can't. We have to keep improving season on season, and if that means we've got to buy another new striker, then that's what we've got to do.
Do you think, as Arsenal fans, Russ, that we got used to Wenger's style of playing football?
I think so because I just don't enjoy watching us play football. We win matches, it's fine. We do win a lot of matches, but they're not convincing in most sense. They're very attritional games. We don't take games by the scruff of the neck. It's like against Everton. I mean, we only beat them in like the last couple of minutes. We're not
Mhm.
beating teams convincingly, and we haven't done it for ages. You could put that down, especially at home. You could put it down to the opposing team just not wanting to lose or not get battered, and they set up very defensively against us. But then we've got to find a way to open these teams up, open the door. The only two games we really were let loose was against Tottenham, but then they've been awful and they are so open at the back. If we didn't score three goals, you'd be disappointed.
Yeah, Russ. Like to me, when I'm watching this current Arsenal team, who depended so much on Bukayo Saka to make things happen, that even himself as a player has gotten really stale. Um, and to me, you're right because the way the formation has been throughout the years, Arteta plays two eights and one defensive midfielder. Um, and then he'll have to have his fullbacks invert, which causes it causes a lot of um it doesn't cause a lot of space, right? So to me, it's kind of confusing and kind of frustrating as a supporter watching Arsenal because I don't think Arteta has yet to figure out how to play proper football. Um, simply because we don't have a natural number 10 like say an Ozil was back then when he was with Arsene Wenger back when he was playing with Arsenal.
True,
Um,
those type of players are very few and far between, and I think the issue is that Wenger was very fluid. He would look at a player like Mesut Ozil and say, "Okay, I can't restrict him by asking him to trap back. He just let him do what he wanted to." Well, when Arteta came in, it was quite obvious that Ozil wouldn't fit in a rigid formation. So basically, he was just discarded. He was told to leave, basically. I think, yeah, I don't think we'd ever get a Mesut Ozil type player under Arteta or Berta because I just don't think that the system would allow for that kind of player to thrive.
you think that's how Odegaard is not? We haven't seen Odegaard's best in a couple years. Is that why you think that this club has become so stagnant?
I don't think it's just not stagnant. I just think they're being asked to do stuff outside their remit,
Mm.
but also because obviously Eze last year at Palace, Eze had a free role, and he was sort of. We can see what Eze can do. He can absolutely smash him into the back of the net, and he can actually. The problem is with Eze is that he needs space, and I think at Palace because teams weren't playing such a high line against them, he was sort of left to do what he wanted, and he was getting into good positions. But at Arsenal, you can't do that. Players do not get time on the ball. That's the whole point. Other teams want to get the ball off us. And if you notice that Eze in a lot of matches, he gets put under pressure and he loses the ball quite a bit because I think I don't know whether opposing managers just say, right, we get two players on him, do not let him out your sight. It's very
Mm.
difficult. It's difficult for us. He's not had a great season. He's had some good moments. Don't get me wrong, but consistently he can't because he just doesn't get enough time on the ball.
That's a shame because I wish Arteta would have players play to their strength. But back to your point about Martinelli, I think Arteta holds on to the starting 11 too much and too late, where he'll make subs, and by then he's already lost the game or losing the game. And I think when Martinelli came on, or at least was coming on in the past as a substitute, he made things happen. For example, when we needed a goal, Martinelli scored against City in the fall. Um, why can't why do you think Arteta's stubborn in that way, where he's afraid to make subs earlier in the game, where they can at least maybe get a goal in, or maybe make things happen in the case where it could have been used against City.
I don't know. Maybe I think you see it with a lot of managers. They have an idea in their mind before the game even starts. They say, right, if it's going this way, I'm going to make substitutions at this point in the game, no matter what. And I think Arteta hasn't got out of that mindset. It can be a positive and it can be a negative. But usually you can say, oh yeah, 60 minutes Arteta's going to make a change, and generally he does.
Mhm.
I I'm not a fan of making substitutions at half time. I really don't like that, and it can affect the players on so many levels. It can affect the player who's being taken off. It can affect the side, the morale in the team. I just say I've never been a massive fan of taking players off at half time. Rather give them 15 minutes and then hook them like at 60 minutes or something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do agree that the fact is that I don't think Arteta is flexible enough to make those kind of decisions, and he just leaves it. He just says, "Oh, at 60 minutes, I'll make a change, one or two changes, no matter what."
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's my problem with Arteta is like he's the kind of manager where he has them figure it out, and by the time that happens, it's already too late. And he's maybe put a substitution that I feel like he can make an impact, and puts him on at the 86th minute mark, and by that time, he's already lost the game. Russ, do you see any maybe positives of that game? I know Declan Rice came out and said, you know, this we could grow from this, we could learn from this. What were your positives in that game, if you had any?
Sorry, I was on mute. None really. Saliba was probably the best player, um, but I don't really see any positives out of that. There was, as I say, there was no creativity. Um, I don't know whether they were just switched off. Right, the first goal went in, and that was the keeper's fault. So I obviously that puts the fear of God into the defence. If the goalkeeper's made a bit of an error, it makes them not want to trust him. And yeah, I'd rather just forget about it. I don't really want to dissect that match again. I don't really want to sort of relive
No
it or
problem.
go through it anymore. I would just rather just put it to the back of my mind. All right, we lost 2-0. Oh well, move on.
So this game we play Southampton in the FA Cup, I believe it is, Russ, and then we play an early game
Correct.
against Bournemouth.
Yep.
Right. So obviously, Arsenal have been the leading title holders with 14 FA Cup wins. Um, Russ, with this current squad and the injuries we have, do you think that we have a strong enough team to maybe perhaps be at another final, or do you think with everything going on at Arsenal currently that we might miss out on that one as well?
I I don't know. It's very you can't predict anything. Okay, if we beat Southampton, then you just got to look at the draw. Knowing our luck, we're going to get a big club at some point, whether it be semi-finals or the final. It's probably be Man City again, knowing our luck. But at least we can't play them in the Champions League, so that's one good thing.
Mhm.
Um, FA Cup. Obviously, it's nice to win the FA Cup, but from my point of view, we've either got to win a league or the Champions League.
Mhm.
One of the two. If we win
I
the
know.
league, fine. We win the Champions League, but we come second in the league, that's fine. If we finish second in the league and win the FA Cup,
Missed the mark.
yeah, winning the
Right.
FA Cup is the bare minimum, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, bare minimum.
So on the Bournemouth. So Bournemouth have always been that club that's always been Arsenal fits. And they play us really well to their credit. and this is a game where there always causes issues. And this is also a game in which we also sit back and not to take the brakes off and just don't go for it enough. To me,
Mhm.
we've seen it over and over again. But to be fair, they've been coached very well. I believe they're eighth or seventh in the table right now, which is good for them. It's always good to see teams like that do well in the Premier League. Hey Gary, how's it going, pal? Hello, hello, says Gary. Right. So, what are your thoughts on Bournemouth, Russ, and the way they're coached, the way that they play teams that are bigger than them, and how much success they've had success in the league as far as staying up?
Firstly, hello, Gary. Get back to work. Um, Bournemouth. Well, it's one of those, isn't it? You've got the three Bs, haven't you? You've got Brentford, Brighton, and Bournemouth, who seem to have figured out how to actually work the transfer market. They seem to buy all these players for next to nothing and then sell them on for big money. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, it's nice to see those teams doing well. Obviously, they've got decent hierarchies, like owners. They've actually got people who seem to know what they're doing, how to run a club. I think when these teams sort of they get rid of managers, they get new managers who they kind of know exactly who they want. They pick managers who will fit their style of and their philosophy, which is really good. And obviously they've got all this data going through them that they seem to pick these players up for next to nothing and sort of just spin them for money in a couple of seasons, like Semenyo, players like that. I would have loved Semenyo to join Arsenal. I don't know why we weren't sort of in that conversation, but one of those really.
Yeah, it seems like Bournemouth have always gotten a fair, decent price for the players that they sold.
Oh, it's
Like
like
Semenyo,
Brighton. Brighton are exactly the same.
yeah, and then they sold that center back, I believe, to Real Madrid for 50 million as well. Um,
Yeah, they had
but
Kirkers. They had quite a
yeah,
few players who, yeah. So they bought these players for nothing, and they've made what 200 million in a couple of seasons on transfers.
that's
No, fair play
amazing.
to them.
Yeah, and I guess that's what keeps them up. They recruit very well, and sometimes, Russ, I kind of wish that Arsenal would do the same thing.
Thing is,
They,
though, the problem is Alonso is that Arsenal cannot take a punt on any of those type of players. We are at a level where we have to buy
the best.
from the top shelf. Yeah, we can't take a punt on these players, which is sad. It's like, I mean, Chelsea would. Chelsea would probably buy or just hoard these players and then just loan them out for seasons. Arsenal don't do that. That's not the way we do things. What we do is we need to maximize our money, and unfortunately, we just can't take risks on these sorts of players. The unfortunate thing is that obviously, if we don't buy them, Brighton or Brentford or Bournemouth, they will buy these players, and unfortunately, they'll sell them for a lot more money than we be care to pay for them. That's why obviously Semenyo's gone to Man
City.
City. Yeah, this is yeah. We miss a boat on players, but I don't think that's just because we don't know those players are there. It's because we're just not willing to sort of take a punt on them.
Yeah, and as a supporter, I think that not all the time, but maybe sometimes you at least take a look at those players that aren't as well known just yet, because these lower table teams are there for they've been there for a reason. It's coaching, maybe recruitment, maybe smart buying. Um, but that's how Ramsdale got on our Arsenal, was because um was it Sheffield United sold them to us. I think it was, and they were always an up and down team like Norwich were also. Um, Speaking of players we bought from the smaller clubs, we all know I like England. I'm sure you do too, as Russ. Being from England yourself. Um, what are your thoughts on Ben White being back with England?
Well, I don't actually mind. I don't think it's not going to do him any harm. It's not going to do his transfer value any harm. Obviously, he had a massive falling out with Gareth Southgate and the England coaching team at that particular time, so he was never going to play for them ever again.
Mhm.
Whether you think it's right for Ben White to walk out on the England team during the preparation for, I think it was a World Cup, was it, or the Euros? One of the two. I can't remember.
He is actually on the team, but left during the World Cup
Yeah,
20.
yeah, he basically walked out on them. Yeah, because obviously he, in his mind, he was probably thinking he should be playing, and obviously Gareth Southgate thought slightly different. So I don't mind him playing for England. He's a good player. He's been another one where there's sort of been rumours that he might be sold in the summer. I'd be sad if he does because I do like him, but he's been injured quite a few times over the last couple of seasons. So, but if we can get someone more reliable as a right back to be a backup to Timber, then that's fine. But no, I don't mind Ben White playing for England.
Yeah, I myself like you Russ. I'm a big Ben White. I have his number last year in my jersey. I know. I think Ben White is the kind of guy that we all could relate to. I think that when he came from Brighton, people were asking Arsenal, well, why are you buying him for? He costs too much, etc., etc., etc. But he was on that Euro team in 2020 or 2021 rather, and he played well enough for that team for Arsenal to warrant him to be bought, which means that it's good for him, like you said, because they'll add transfer market if he does make the World Cup team, which I hope he does. It's a good comeback story. But I'm looking forward to the World Cup. Really looking forward to how England do as well as the United States. Right. So, Russ, as a grand scheme of things, where do you see Arsenal here on out?
Going out where?
How do you view Arsenal from here on out?
Oh, here on out. Sorry. Um, I don't know. I hate making predictions because they always don't never come true. They always seem to go badly. I think we'll win the league. I think we will win the league. Champions League. We should get past Sporting Lisbon, but then you're probably going to meet Barcelona after that. And Barcelona have just absolutely ripped Newcastle into pieces. Um, it's going to be very difficult for us to get into the Champions League final. Um, but and the FA Cup, if it's luck of the draw with the FA Cup. If we get through, if we win the FA Cup, that's fine. But it's only fine if we win the league or the Champions League. But I think we'll win the league. All right, you've got it out of me.
Right. We're going to switch gears for a moment, Russ. We're going to talk about wrestling.
Wrestling,
So,
wrestling.
I don't know if you've seen the videos about CM Punk, aka Phil,
Phil.
and Joe, aka Roman Reigns, and how CM Punk is basically talking about the family, Samoan family,
Hmm.
the Iowas, whatever you call them. But he went personal, as did Roman Reigns. Um, and then you have the Usos coming out, you know, punching CM Punk punching them. Um, it's kind of crazy how it's turned out, to be honest. However, it's the same old stuff again, right? With the bloodline, with the OTC. what do you make out of that the main event with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, or who you going for, and what do you think is going to happen
Oh, Alonso. I
prediction?
don't know. I would rather CM Punk win because then obviously he's going to be visible on TV. I do not want Roman Reigns to win the title and then just disappear for 3 months and only sort of wrestle 4 times a year because that's just really annoying. I don't like it. If you've got a champion, he needs to be visible, maybe not every week, but sort of every 2 weeks at the very least. Um, he, I don't know. Does Roman Reigns want to go into Hollywood? I know he's been in a few films here and there, but he
So apparently he
obviously
wants.
he's got other things on his mind. I would say on his. I assume his schedule's quite busy.
Yeah, apparently he's in the next Street Fighter movie with
Yes, he
Cody
is.
Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes is so, but Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes is always on TV. So I don't see what the difference is between why Roman Reigns can't make more of an effort. But
Do
then
you
it's just that I don't know. WWE seem to be doing the safer option every time.
do you think that there could be something going on during WrestleMania, like it was back when Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns when The Rock came out and Undertaker, John Cena, all those guys came out? Or do you think it'd be just an outright win, with both of them fighting for wrestling for a long time? Do you see any outside interference?
Quite possibly, but it won't be on that level like it was with Cody Rhodes because obviously Cody had to. He lost the one the year before and then he won it the second year. I don't think there's no. CM Punk's a multi-time world champion. Roman Reigns a multi-time world champion. I don't see anyone coming in on CM Punk's behalf, if you know what I mean. I don't really see anyone sort of coming in to help him.
All right.
Obviously, you've got the Usos, you got whoever come in to help Roman Reigns win it. But as I say, Roman Reigns will probably win because otherwise, why make him win the Rumble? It just doesn't make sense.
It's
But
funny you mention. It's funny you mention that because on our other show you have Cody Rhodes losing to is it CM Punk? Oh no, it was Elimination Chamber. So he lost to Drew McIntyre.
no, Drew McIntyre wasn't in it, was he? He just came in and Randy Orton beat Randy Orton won the
Randy Orton,
Elimination
right?
Chamber. Yeah.
Sorry. So
And then
again,
Cody Rhodes beat Drew McIntyre like a week after to win the title back anyway. So it just makes a nonsense of Cody Rhodes even being in the Elimination Chamber to begin with.
yeah, and to me as a fan, I don't know what they were thinking with that. You know, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have minded seeing Drew McIntyre wrestle Randy Orton, because it made more sense to me.
Yeah.
I think put it on Cody Rhodes just before he lost the elimination chamber made absolutely no sense at all. Because then you're telling essentially Drew McIntyre that he's not good enough to be a champion,
Mm.
or he can't keep the belt long enough to be a champion rather. Um, and that's a shame because at what point have we seen Drew McIntyre have a lengthy title reign? We
Mm.
haven't, right? So all of a sudden you're seeing Cody Rhodes with the belt again. And to be fair, Russ, I don't know about how you think about it, but I'm kind of bored with seeing Cody Rhodes in the belt. Had the belt this long.
Well, now you know how I feel about Roman Reigns having a bloody belt for 4 years, driving me insane. That's why I just didn't
Yeah,
watch it. I wasn't. That's why I don't watch a lot of the week to week stuff anyway. But when Roman Reigns was there, I was just like, I just can't go through with this every single. Well, not every. I don't think he even wrestled every single pay per view, but it was just it's nonsense. It was just they were just keeping him champion just for the sake of it. But yeah,
it
Drew
is.
McIntyre. I do like Drew McIntyre, but yeah, it's. I can see what you're saying about Cody Rhodes, but he's the number one babyface essentially, so he's got to have the belt.
Do you think that he'll ever turn heel, Russ?
No, I he's been a heel before, but just not in WWE. I don't. He can do it. He did it in AEW. He's been a heel. Well, he has been a heel in WWE, but that was donkeys years ago, wasn't it? But
Mhm.
he could turn heel. Yeah, I've got no problem with him being heel. But Randy Orton's the natural heel, isn't he? So that didn't surprise me that he put him through a table and everything else. Shenanigans.
My thinking, Russ, is that the fans will enjoy Cody Rhodes getting beat up like that, and I think it'll backfire. I think a lot of people want to see old school Randy Orton beating people up and acting like a psychopath.
I think you're right. I think if he wins, then I think a lot of people will be very happy.
Yeah, and I think people want to see that, and I think the crowd will turn on Cody Rhodes.
Well, I think that was what we're saying is I think that the title change between Randy Orton, there should be Randy Orton should win and Roman Reigns should lose. Basically, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, that's what happened to us, but I think that we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm excited. But another thing too, what do you make out of? I'm sure you probably heard that Abu Femi is going to wrestle Brock Lesnar, and there's talk that Brock Lesnar um could
Retire? Is that the word you're looking for?
no um put over Abu Femi. Do you think that will happen, Russ, at WrestleMania?
There's a good chance he could over. Yeah, put him over. I don't see why not. It won't hurt Brock Lesnar at all by putting somebody over. He'll probably do it and then go away for 6 months or so.
I also
Well,
saw on WrestleMania that SummerSlam is also in Minneapolis, so he could turn back up during WrestleMania SummerSlam season.
can you just give me 2 seconds?
And that's the problem. Russ is going away for a second. So right now watching baseball. Today's opening day, and we're gonna see how the Astros are doing. They're losing 1-0. My Phillies are winning 5-0 against the Texas Rangers. Right now the Red Sox just scored over the Reds, and Tampa Bay is beating the Cardinals 5-7.
Sorry, that wasn't 2 seconds.
No problem.
Oh, I just have to look after my dog. Here he is. Right, sorry, what were you saying? Say hello.
So right, so hello puppy. Right.
But
So, um, going to just talk on WrestleMania
yeah,
that Brock Lesnar could come back and return to wrestle Gunther.
yeah,
Now, fans have been wanting this match for a very long time, and
correct.
those are very different technical wrestlers.
Yes.
What are your
Uh,
thoughts?
um, I don't mind Brock Lesnar losing to both of them. You can see Obafemi definitely going over at WrestleMania, and the problem is I don't. Obviously, Brock Lesnar's career is winding down.
Mhm,
He's he's an attraction, isn't he? The problem is you can't have your attraction lose all the time. So I'm more than happy to see Obafemi beating him at WrestleMania, but I don't. I wouldn't really want Gunter. Brock Lesnar losing two matches in a row just I don't think that would ever happen.
mhm.
You've either got to let him go over. I think have Obafemi go over him at WrestleMania. I think every most people would be quite happy with that. But then I don't think him losing two in a row and losing to Gunther. I don't think everyone will be happy. That's a WrestleMania match for me. Gunther versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, because to me, everyone likes Brock Lesnar because he still gets a good pop, right? No matter how if he's still babyface. Um, and I can see your point with having him losing two big PLAs essentially.
Hmm.
Um, everyone hates Gunther because of what he did to John Cena
What he did to
and
Cena.
his styles.
Yeah.
So at this point, for us, Brock Lesnar has to be babyface if he's gonna fight Gunther. And like you said, I think you're right. I think Brock Lesnar has to win the SummerSlam in his hometown to face embarrassment. Not to face embarrassment. Um, I think Brock Lesnar can easily overtake Gunther.
Yeah. It will. It's a shame though that as I say, it's a shame that it's not at WrestleMania because I think that would be a massive, massive match on the card to have that at WrestleMania. To have it at SummerSlam, yeah, obviously it's big match, but I think Gunther versus Brock's that's WrestleMania level match.
Do you then think? Do you then ask yourself, what is creative doing wrong?
Everything
Yeah.
you can tell by the reactions on most of the. As I say, I don't really watch the week to week stuff, but I do watch various podcasts and snippets and stuff, and I just say that SmackDown. All right, Road Dogg was the lead head of creative at SmackDown, but since he's left, it hasn't got any better anyway. So I think that they're just doing the bare minimum, but obviously they're just making the people just pay stupid ticket prices, and the creative just isn't justifying those ticket prices.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, there's rumors that there's gonna be a fatal four way tag team match for women's title at WrestleMania. And this whole obsession with Bailey being involved with WrestleMania, to me, it's now a joke now. To me, Russ, um, and her and I are about Kyria. Granted, I, 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 I don't know about you, but I think Bailey has worn out her welcome. I think her character is gotten really stale. Um, I think that was Valkyria is getting held back. Um, I don't know, dude. Like, I think SmackDown's gotten so bad now as
Hmm.
far as storytelling. Um, I think there's so much stuff. I think Nia Jax should never be able to hold a title or be
You're not a
tag
fan
team or
of Nia
individual.
Jax, are you?
I'm not, man. I do like Lash Legend though. I think she's gonna be a good wrestler. Um, I think Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are great together.
Yep.
Remember being biased. Um, but I don't know. I think there should be another tag team belts on Raw.
Mm.
Um, because it's going, and the belts when it's coming back, I'm not so sure about. I think that's nostalgia. Um, and they're all do those tag teams on SmackDown, Russ. It's like so it's weird, but it is what it is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about AJ Lee coming back and her feud with
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch?
You can't ever remember Becky Lynch. I. It's nice. It's a nostalgia thing. I can't see her sticking around too long after. Obviously, she's Phil's wife, so obviously they can call on her whenever they like. But no, it's fine. I don't think it should be such a prominent position on the card. But I mean, the matches they've had, they haven't been too bad. Don't get me wrong, they haven't been. I'm not offended by it, but there's only so many times two people can wrestle each other, and with the amount of wrestlers that they've got on the roster, these guys are just wrestling each other all the time, and it's just makes me sick. I just can't deal with it. It's once you've seen one match, you've seen them all. They don't do anything different in any of the matches. They're not keeping it fresh. That's what I mean.
Mm.
As I said, they've got this massive roster, and a lot of those guys are just sitting there, just doing absolutely nothing.
I, I I think it's good, Russ, for to a certain extent because the U.S. Women's Belt and the U.S. U.S. the Intercontinental Women's Belts are kind of both new. So it's kind of good to see them be productive as far as the second below contenders, like it is the men's, right? Because U.S. belt and not U.S. belt and Intercontinental belt, which to me was more of a launching point to those heavyweight title belts. However, Becky Lynch has won one already, and so has AJ Lee. So my question to WWE is, why are you using her and talent to
Mm,
build up the Intercontinental Women's and U.S. Women's title as well?
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, and also that goes for Julia. Is she still even the U.S. Women's title holder?
Believe so.
See, that's also part of SmackDown's creative. They don't use that belt enough.
True.
So,
But it's just that there's only a finite amount of TV time, but they just keep using the same people.
hmm yeah, and that's how people like you, myself, tune out because it's like the same thing over and over again. Like the MFTs, right? The MFTs, like it's the same feud with the Wyatt Six every single Friday night on SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, how many matches have Becky Lynch and AJ Lee have had already? They had
Three,
a mixed
right?
tag match. Yeah, they had two. Well, she won the title off her, didn't she? Yeah, they must have had two or three matches already. Yeah, it's just boring. Just can't be bothered with it.
And meanwhile, you have the Motor City Machine Guns and the Street Profits hanging out on SmackDown, then doing nothing but hanging
Nothing.
out.
Yep, not being used. And they're the best tag team in the world. There you go.
So, Russ, so what are your plans this weekend? I know England come on. Is this a non-sports weekend for you, or are you going to tune into the international games?
Who we got? Uruguay, and then
Japan.
yeah, in Japan. I don't watch. I don't watch qualifiers.
Uh-huh.
So I seriously doubt I'm going to watch friendlies that mean absolutely nothing.
I didn't watch Formula One.
Not a fan of Formula One.
Oh, really?
Haven't been
Interesting.
for years.
Michael Schumacher.
Oh, well, he's a cheater, but and he's German. We don't like him. I might have a sports-free weekend, mate, because um, yeah, I think last Sunday did did it in for me for a little bit. I'd rather just not watch any football for a couple of weeks.
I understand. I'm gonna watch NASCAR.
What other sports are on? Don't know.
Okay.
Mm,
Oh, and also rugby is on. I think believe the Six Nations has already ended. So
yeah, that's finished. Yeah,
those guys were a
England were
disaster.
rubbish, absolute rubbish.
uh, I haven't heard Russ. Did they fire that manager?
I don't actually know. I assume I would have heard about it if they had.
Me too. He was awful, man. Like the whole thing was bad.
It started off okay. First match
Yeah.
was all right. After that, just I don't know. There was I think there was tensions in the camp, so it wouldn't surprise me if the manager was oofed it out. Because when's the World
Well,
Cup?
next year, right? This
Yeah,
year.
exactly. Yeah, so they got to get their ducks in a row pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think the manager he took important players off too early.
Mhm.
Like one named Ben Spencer.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, he was playing really well, and it's like, then next thing you know, he was hooked off, and then it's like, Jesus, man, he had a perfect game, and as did many others, and then that French game sucked, man. Like they picked the ball off, and within 1 minute left, I'm like, jeez, guys, man, come on. Right,
Yeah.
Russ. That ends it for today's podcast. Thanks for always for your time today. I
God,
really
we
do
actually
appreciate
finished
it.
in an hour. Wow.
Well, I try my best.
That's something of a novelty.
Yeah, well, thanks for your time. I know it's late there. What time is it there? Is it 10:30 now?
10:30, yes. But no,
Right.
thank you very much for having an impromptu chat about wrestling and football, Alonso. Anytime I'm free, mate, we can get together and or if the other channel's not on any particular on a Thursday, if I've got nothing else to do, I'm more than happy to join you if you are free.
Yeah, I was off work and I was actually supposed to watch a baseball game, but with my friends, but I was under the weather and was not up for it, so I figured that why not? At least I won't be that bored watching doing
What
nothing. So
what basketball team what baseball team do you support?
the Phillies, but um
Of course, you've got a Phillies
the
hat on, haven't you? How, how many games do baseball teams play in any particular season?
so regular season it's 182 games. So the first
How do you play so many games? Am I missing something here? How on earth does that happen?
so the season starts late March, early April,
Right.
and they end in late October.
How many
But
times are they playing a week?
maybe four from
How can
four.
you play 4 times a week?
I don't know, Russ. They make it happen, man. I don't know. But it takes a lot. A lot of training. They start spring training in February and they
Yeah,
end in the late part of March. And basically, I had 2 months, off, maybe 3 months out the year off.
yeah.
And today is the first full day of baseball today.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man. They pay anywhere from maybe 4 games to maybe 5 games, 6 games a week. Sometimes 3 games a week.
Wow, that's
Sometimes
crazy.
5. Yeah.
I know, cool. But enjoy your baseball game. I'm
Yeah,
sure you will.
pal. We'll stay in touch and have a good weekend and see you soon, pal.
You too. I'll speak to you soon, mate. Thank you for having me.
All right.